Okay, how to create a user account inside the Active Directory. To create a user account inside the Active Directory in the server computer, you need to go to the Active Directory, open Active Directory. You can open it by going to Start, Administrative Tools, and then select the third option, which is Active Directory Users and Computers. So open it, and now you can see there are multiple options you have. Active Directory Users and Computers, this is the server computers, and this is the domain name. Expand the domain, you can see there are built-in accounts, built-in groups, and then computers, those computers which are connected with the server. Domain controllers, all those computers which are having Active Directory installed. So currently one computer, which is the same computer on which I am currently logged in. So this is the server, and the name of this computer is server, and this is the domain controller also. There are some principles, security principles, and this is the option users. This is the option users. So you can see here that there are some users, there are groups also, and there are, guest account is also here. Some of them are groups, some of them are users. So now we are going to create a user account for one of the user who is, for example, the manager, or who is a cashier or accountant. We want to create a user account to log in into the domain network inside the Active Directory in the server computer. So how to do this thing? You can simply right click here and then select new. So you can create so many options. For example, you can add a computer, you can add a contact group or something. But right now our concern is to create the user account. So select user. Now this is a little different from creating a user inside a normal computer or a client computer. You can see create the user in cardon.com/user. It means that this user is belonging to Cardon domain. It belongs to the domain network. So here you have a form, and inside this form you will enter the first name of this person. For example, the name of this person is Mujib. Mujib is the name. Initials, it is like a nickname. For example, what are the initials of this? So in foreign countries or foreigners, they usually have a initial also. For example, there is a person, Wakar, or whatever we call it, so they will call it Wiki or something, right? Or for example, there is Temur, so we will call him short name, exactly. So they will call Tommy or something like that, right? Exactly. So okay, fine. Samir, so you will call him Sam or something like that. But right now, okay, we are not going to use initials. Just call him full name. For example, if he is Samir, so call him by full name. Okay, Mujib, and the last name is, let's suppose, Mujib Khan. Let's say this Khan. So now you can see the full name is Mujib Khan. This is the name of the person. This is not the login name. The full name or the first name, last name, it is different from the logon name. Logon name is the name using which this person will log on to the computer system. He will be using this account to log in, but the name is actually used to identify that person. So the name is Mujib Khan, and for example, his username is, we say, MUJEEB, Mujib. You can write the full name of this person, no problem, you can write, but there should be no space in between. For example, Mujib space Khan or something like that. No, you cannot use it. Or you can use another name, for example, manager. The login name is manager. But the best option is, if you are using a name, it is better that you should use, for example, a name, MUJ, the first three words from the first name and the first three words from the last name. You can combine them also to make a unique username. But right now, for example, I'm keeping the same name, Mujib@cardon.com. Now you can see there is a symbol @cardon.com, and this option is not available when you are creating a user inside a local computer. It means that this is a user which belongs to the domain. This person do not belong to this computer. This person do not belong to the whole domain, right? So once you create Mujib@cardon.com, it means that this is a user account for the domain network, not a local account. This is not a local account, this is a domain user account. So go next. Now in the second option, you need to enter a password, and the password must be a complex password, because by default there's a policy. You can change that policy also, but right now we need to enter a complex password. So I'm keeping a complex password for this user by entering some numbers as well as symbols and alphanumeric, for example, characters as well. So enter the password, then confirm the password. They should be the same. And then you have 4 options here. The first option is user must change password at next logon. Right? This is an option. You know, right now, who is creating the user account for this person? Administrator is creating this account. I am administrator, for example. I am creating this user account. So I will have to tell that person that this is your username and password. But I want that I don't need to, tell the user. For example, I have kept this password. I know his password. I have created his password. Maybe that person do not like this password. So what we can do here is to check this option, and whenever he log in next time and use this password which I have created, so he will be having the option to change his password during the logging in. He can have the option to change the password, right? So if you select this option, if you check this option, immediately an option will come to the user to change your password, to make a new password, because I have created this password, and maybe some people don't like this thing that someone else create a password for them. So you need to check this option if you want that user should be able to change the password. If you don't want, just uncheck this option and he will always be using this password. Clear? The second thing, user cannot change password. The user will never have any option to change his password. He will always use the password which we created, this password. He will be using this password, right? The third option, password never expires. In domain network, we have an option that this password can be expired at some level of time. For example, after 1 month, or after 20 days, after 15 days, the password should automatically expire. Expire means he'll be having the same password, but he cannot log in. The user cannot log in by using this password anymore. So this is the expiration date, and you can make the date that on this date the password should expire automatically, and the person is no more able to log into the system. In some organization, there is a policy that the user password should automatically, it should be changed or it should be expired after each month for security reasons, right? So that the password should not be leaked, or it should be, the network should be secure. So you can have a policy to change the password or expire the password automatically after each 15 days, 1 month or 2 months or whatever, something like that. So this is the option. If you want that the password should never expire, you should check this option, then this password will never expire. And the last option we have, this is account is disabled. By default, if I create this thing, the user can immediately start logging into the system. But I want that I have created the user account, but right now it should be disabled. Later on, after 1 day or 1 week or 10 days, I will enable this account and the user will start using the domain network. So you can disable the account also. Disable means the user will be there, the password will be there inside the Active Directory, but the user, they cannot log into the domain network because it will be disabled, right? So you can check this option, any option which is required according to the policy of the organization. So right now I'm not checking any of the option. I say I want that the user should immediately start using the account. Or you can, for example, let's say I'm just checking this option. User must change password at next logon. It's clear? So this is here, we just enter the password, then go next and finish. The last step is just finish the account. There is nothing. Okay, I'm just finishing it. Click finish, right? And we just created the account. Okay, now listen. The user Mujib is here. We just created, and this is inside the user's folder inside the Active Directory. So this is Mujib Khan, and we just created this user. Now your responsibility as a network administrator is to give this user account to the Mujib. Mujib may be a user or employee inside the organization, right? Now let's suppose Mujib is working here on this computer, and Windows XP on client side, he is working here. He wants to log in by using this user account which you created for him. And remember, where you created this account, we created this account inside the Active Directory in the server computer, but he wants to log in by this user account and password on the client side in his own office. So let's just try to log in Mujib here. So what was the username? It was Mujib. No, only login name was Mujib. The full name was Mujib Khan. Enter his password and also enter the password, and you can see again you have two options. For this one, he don't have the username and password because you have it, the username and password, but he has the username and account username and password for Cardano domain because this was the domain network. Select it, and when you click OK, you can see you are getting a message. Mujib is getting a message, and the message is you are required to change your password at first logon, because I selected this option inside the Active Directory that whenever the user log in for the first time, he should change his username and password. Sorry, his password only, not username, his password. So click OK, and now you can see Mujib is having the option to change. This is his old password and this is his new password. Right? So for example, we want to change this account. For example, I just assign a new password. Click OK, and your password has been changed. Click OK, and you can see Mujib is logged into the client side, the client computer. Remember,
Means you can control
yes. Now because everything is with the domain, you can disable, you can enable, you can lock, you can expire the password. That is why we said that the server is powerful, it is centralized environment from where you can do all the things. Position, he is a normal user, he is just a user, yeah, he is just a user of the client computer. He can use software, he can use so many other things. Okay, now you can see the user is, who is the user? The user is, he is in the users group, yes. Okay, Mujib is the user, he logged in currently, and he can use the softwares, whatever he wants to do. He can apply all those things here. And one thing he cannot do is, for example, let's suppose we go to the, changing the IP address or something. He cannot change the IP address. He cannot install softwares. What he can do here is that he can just use those softwares which are installed inside the computer system. For example, currently the softwares, the Microsoft Office or any other software which is inside this computer, he can just use it. Right? So this is Mujib.
just
Now,
administrative, then you can
yes,
install.
exactly. One more thing important. Listen now. Another thing is, we created this user account inside the domain, which is for Mujib. Now another important thing is, Mujib by default, Mujib can log in anywhere in the whole domain, because whenever Mujib is logging in here, this computer sends a request to the server that a person is trying to log in on this computer. Is this person authorized to log in? So the server checks it in the Active Directory. So if the username is inside the Active Directory, the server allow, and it tells this computer just allow this person to log in. Right? Similarly, Mujib wants to log in here. So again, this server will send the request to the Active Directory. So the server again allow this person, yes, this person is in the Active Directory, so he is allowed to log in here. So it means that right now Mujib can log in anywhere in the whole domain, in all these computers, except server. Let's try it. Let's see it on another computer. This is another client computer. Instead of this, I am typing and select Cardano. Okay, there is a policy right now, which is the local policy, but Mujib can log in here also. Mujib can log in here on this system as well. The old password.